Good morning. Welcome to Love Morning. Good morning, I'm John, and this is Monday morning. That means I'm going to record Stay Sparked in an hour. It means I just uploaded a new episode of Heart on the 80s. We talked about the movie Valley Girl with Nicolas Cage. Oh, so smoldering with his original teeth and his chest hair shaved into a vagina shape. Oh, you don't believe me? Check out my reels. I posted a little clip from this the new episode, and I put a screenshot so you can see. I'm not lying. Nicolas Cage shaved his chest into a V of hair for the movie Valley Girl. I can tell you don't believe me. Why would I lie about that? Good morning. Welcome to Love Morning. This is a opportunity to share some gratitude, to recognize that we have the ability to be courageous in our day, to find opportunities to be connecting and open. Courageous. Why did I say it that way today? Because maybe I'll do a song and then remember to talk about courageousness. Because I have made it a tradition to start this with a song. I start it without knowing how it will go along. And even though the words are made up on the spot, sometimes the music's cool and sometimes it's quite hot. It's love morning now, love morning with you. Good morning. Monday morning, and we are live. The poet is asking me in YouTube, are you going to Burning Man this year after last year? After my experience? You know what? That's a great question. And the answer is, I think so. I did. I have not been feeling super called to go to burn events. I think I do have a little bit of post-traumatic attack. I've got some negative experiences in me now, and I'm not sure if I want to go this year. So I'm planning on it, planning for it, but I'm not committed, if that makes sense. I'm also supposed to go to Unscrews, the Santa Cruz one. So who knows? Good morning, Brent. Good morning to you. Welcome to our Love Morning on this Monday. This is my 1 month, 4-week anniversary from my breakup. It's also 4 weeks since deciding to stop using intoxicants and stimulants, with the exception of the mud water, which has got 1/7 the caffeine of a cup of coffee. So first I'll talk about why I said we have a choice to be courageous in our day and be connecting and kind. I went to a integration circle yesterday, and a woman shared that, talking about the word fearless, and then she says it's impossible to be fearless, but you can be courageous. And I really like that, because I feel like all of this work that I've been doing this month, and this incredible experience that I had in the breath work, and feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm healing all the things that I'm trying to heal, and yet I don't feel healed. I still have the same insecurities, but maybe the objective is never to be free from fear, but to have the ability to not be consumed and to make space and then be courageous, recognizing the feelings that you get, recognizing resistance, and then being courageous. So I recognize that part of this morning broadcast is to try to psych up and be courageous. Say, I have a tendency to want to stay inside and not interact with people, not deal with traffic, And so all these little insecurities that hold me back in the world, keep me from being in relationships and keep me from doing things in the world, that perhaps it's not about accepting that that's the way it is. It's accepting those feelings and then finding the courage to act in spite of them. Good morning, Zoe. Good morning. Happy Monday to you. And good morning, Al. Al is saying, I hope I can make it to the Big Burn this year, but the heat, oof, if it gets much higher, I don't know. Yay, the Poet's going to be there for their first year. Awesome. Well, you won't know if it's hot or cold. It'll just be the first time you've experienced it. But last year was hot. Yeah, I don't think I could handle it. Although I really am uncertain because I don't know how long I was sick at the burn and what degree the sickness affected me. If it was, but that was not a pleasant experience, and the amount of effort and work that goes into it. Whew, boy. Gerbot, hello, good morning. Acknowledging, yes, it's impossible to be fearless, but you can be courageous. Isn't that was a woman brought that up in the circle. And so I had another interesting thing happen. It seems like a small crew today. I will share this. Boy, sometimes I catch my reflection. I'm like, yeah, cool, I like my bald head. Sometimes I catch my reflection. I go, wow, I look like an old prisoner. Whew. I definitely felt cooler and more dateable when I had pink hair. And dateable is on my mind because I've been feeling some of the lonelies. And so so I went to this integration circle, and one of my ex-partner is active in helping run this circle. And right after the breakup, for the first 2 weeks, I blocked her on all the things, and I just couldn't handle seeing her name. It just was so upsetting. Like, I got triggered. I was like, because it's like, oh, that's the person that used to make me feel so good, and now I can't. She's not in my life. And I think I've mentioned this. I mean, it was the first time I've been broken up with, especially while I was still like in the depths of love or in the honeymoon phase. Like I had no evidence of her being anything but perfect. And then she said, this isn't going to work. I got to put up some boundaries. And so I respect her, and I respect her decision. I respect her boundaries. I respect her clarity and her honesty with me. But it hit me harder than I remember ever being hit by a breakup, because I'm usually the one who breaks up. And so initially I had no contact, and then yesterday we've been starting to speak again, and I've been really, because I admire her. I think she's got so much wisdom. And then it was interesting at this, so I went to this, she recommended, she said, I know you're seeking community, especially as you're exploring a different level of growth than you have in the past. And so why don't you meet the people at this circle? And so the experience of hearing this woman speak, and she's eloquent and wise and wonderful, and it was such a different feeling to, like, when we're together on a date, a month ago, 2 months ago, and she would say these nice, wise things. It just made me so warm, and like this beautiful person that is a part of me. I'm in love with this person, and I'm so honored to be a part of their life, and I so appreciate and I gain so much from this connection. And then to be in a circle where she's not talking to me, she's talking to the group, and I'm just one of the people around her, not special. And that was really hard. It was harder than I expected, to the point that when I went to, after that, I said I couldn't stick around afterwards and talk to people, partially because my bladder was full, partially because I was just like unregulated and thrown by this experience of like, oh, this is, maybe it's too soon. Maybe I can't have this person in my life in this way, where I'm not special to them. And that highlights actually some of the issues I need to work on. Why do I need to be special? Why do I need external approval? Anyway, and then I went to this a barbecue with some friends, And when they ask me, what's been going on in your life? Even though Saturday we celebrated the 3-year anniversary of our gratitude circles, I didn't mention that to anyone. All I said when people said, what are you up to? I go, I'm just had my heart broken a month ago, because that's all I could think about. And in my mind, that is what has been dictating so much of what my life was about. And then as I was talking with my friends, and I realized I gotta cut this person out of my life. I need to let the wound heal, which sucks, because I still have feelings. So yeah, so this is my month anniversary from the breakup, and then I tested it yesterday and learned that I'm not over her, and maybe, and I'm trying to find optimism about that. Oh, it seems like people want to talk about Burning Man, so we'll talk about Burning Man. Al saying that our expectations for the burn last year were too elevated. Hopefully this year we'll be more prepared. It's still home. I don't know how I can get more prepared unless I buy a better RV. My RV, it's expensive to rent a nice RV. I think that was Brent's suggestion. What the cost of renting an RV for the week is? It ain't nothing. I know that. I've got my old RV, and it might make it another year. Good morning, Janet. And good morning, Brent and Beth. Bill is sending love from chilly Cleveland. Feeling blue today, but grateful for us all, my kindred spirits and burner fam. Good morning, Joyous. Thanks, Janet. Yes, courage, not fearlessness, courageousness. I've been struggling because yeah. God, I feel like I'm on the edge of tears right now. I'm recording a broadcast in 45 minutes about grief for Stay Sparked, and it's tough because I'm like, does relationship loss count as grief? Generally, grief is about losing a person, and yet I feel like I've learned a lot about grief this last month from losing that love. But I don't think that's fair, or not. That's maybe unless we change the topic slightly. Good morning, Sarah. Happy spring to you. Joyous, I did see the Moop map. A lot of red, and Pink Heart certainly had our share of red, more than we've ever had before. I mean, I'm not surprised, just because I was in no position to do anything. I'm sure there are other people that were also knocked on their ass, and you get into survival mode. Good morning, Steve. And good morning, Nick. Hi in Pittsburgh. I saw that, Sarah, that you lost your mom. Well, and a recommendation on grief meditations on Headspace. Okay, that's good to know. I mean, that's the thing. I already know in my head. I'm like, I'm going to say in this grief thing, like, look, I don't feel qualified to speak to this in the same way that I don't feel qualified to speak about parenting. I have thoughts about kids and the dynamics of parents and kids, but I mean, I haven't raised a kid in the same way. Like, I've lost people, but I lost my grandparents, and you always know you're going to lose your grandparents. I haven't lost my parents yet. I haven't lost a sibling. I haven't had, a partner or a child past. I mean, that's the grief that is, I can't even imagine, and I would feel bad even speaking to. Um, Thanks, Al. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how much of my journey I should share and how much of I should keep to myself. Like this morning, I wrote an essay about a little blog post about, it's been a month since the breakup, and I'm trying to figure out if it is helpful and healing to share those things, or if it is another way for me to self-soothe, you know, and that is this my journey that I need to avoid the temptation to seek connection and I don't know. Sarah's saying about grief, it is a very misunderstood emotion. I didn't know how to deal with it, still processing. Al saying, turn your face to the sun and the shadows fall behind you. A Maori proverb. That's beautiful. Yeah, the other thing, as part of this last month is that I have been practicing sobriety, or at least sobriety from intoxicants and stimulants. I'm still been microdosing, and I did do a mushroom journey as part of a healing experience, and a breath work, which is not intoxicating. Well, I guess you could say that's intoxicating, but so I've been exploring a non-chemical daily existence, which I have not done for a long time. Actually, but before, when the pandemic started, I had been sober for 6 months, and then I was like, "Fuck this," and it kind of got away from me a little bit, and I had a daily practice of intoxication that, I guess you could say, became problematic and contributed to the end of my relationship a month ago. That's a good way to say it. So I am entertaining one day at a time indefinitely. And if that's the case, that would be a very different experience at Burning Man than I've had in the past. And plenty of people say, it's fine, yeah, I do it, it's no big deal. But sure, I'm sure that's the case. It's also quite different. And I know that, like, my experience is if I can hang out with people that are drinking until people start to get drunk, and then I feel uncomfortable. It's too much of a reminder of me as intoxicated, because me as intoxicated is awesome, and I have fun, and when I notice myself being quiet and soft-spoken, and other people are starting to get louder and telling stories, and it's hard for me to really embrace this lo-fi version of myself. So I don't know. I don't know if I will be able to go to the Burn this year. I've used intoxication as a way to deal with big crowds and social things. So who knows? Chris saying, I applaud the upcoming talk on grief. As a death doula, I'm looking forward to watching the replay. Grief is all-encompassing. We feel grief anytime we lose a part of us. Hey, Brad. Brad, good morning. Brad says, both sound like worthwhile pursuits. Trust others to find the connection you're offering. Gerbot saying, I've learned that talking things out helps a lot, as long as you can do it in a safe space. Agreed. And so, but the thing I need to figure out is, does talking things out, is that the same thing as sharing publicly? I have, one of my patterns is sharing things publicly. And in doing so, it's almost like social media it's borderline tool and crutch. And I got to make sure, or just try to be aware. Like last night, or yesterday, I posted pictures of me beefcake shots. And I took the pictures the day before, and I'm like, I'm not going to post these. This is not. I shaved my head, and to try to like find some distance between my identity and my reputation, and just try to like break free from being me and just try to be present and genuine and authentic. And then yesterday, after that experience where I was feeling lonely and feeling like I wanted someone to tell me that I was enough, I posted beefcake shots, knowing that I would get attention from them, you know? And I guess it's kind of like having a piece of cake and knowing like, I know this isn't good for me, but I really feel like cake right now. Al saying, maybe a smaller regional event might provide some valuable community without the harshness of the big burn. That's true, and that's such a good point. So I actually am scheduled to go to the Santa Cruz one. I think that's late April or early May, something like that. So that might be a good idea. Nick saying, I lost friends who are younger than myself. I put their names in the temple at Frostburn. I was trying to think about the times that I have had powerful temple experiences. One, my grandfather. But my experience with grieving my grandfather is way different because, he was 94 and there were no regrets. He had lived such a full life, and it was a beautiful thing. It was just so much different than losing a young friend. Then the next experience that popped in my head was with Nick, a campmate who took his own life, and that was tougher. I mean, he wasn't my best friend, but he did call me. We did go out together 2 weeks before he killed himself, and he was pretty sloppy drunk and embarrassed me. And then a week before he killed himself, he called me again, and I said, no, I don't want to go out with you. And then a week later, he took his life. So that was that was a tough one for a lot of reasons. But again, those are very different than a partner or a parent or a child. I just don't feel like I've had that kind of all-encompassing grief. And honestly, like this experience of the heartbreak of a month ago, it was more emotionally challenging to me, more system rocking than the deaths of my grandfather. I mean, there was a lot of emotion, but there was also tons of gratitude and beautiful tears mixed in. I found my grandfather's death and grieving was a beautiful thing for me. Whereas the heartbreak has been harder to. I've had a more irrational response. I've been not able to control my thoughts as much, which I think is a little bit more my understanding of what like profound grief is. So maybe I will address that in the podcast. I don't know if that's insensitive or not. I don't want to devalue the experience of grief. Brad says, I believe we're called to make the world better until we no longer feel the yearning for altered states. Until then, we must seek balance between alteration and reality. I deeply appreciate your views. Thanks, Brad. Well, I'm trying to have faith because Alan Watts said about psychedelics, once you get the message, hang up the phone. Right, but Alan Watts also was an alcoholic and, until his death. So he did not, in fact, he's somebody that I use as an example of like, well, what's the problem? Like Alan Watts drank the rest of his life. He enjoyed getting intoxicated. So maybe not the best example. Good morning, Izzy. I saw your flyer for your workshop or your seminar. It looked really beautiful. Nicely done. Izzy says, I'm grateful that I am my own boss and can postpone the beginning of my Tai Chi online course, and no one's going to blame me for it. That's right. You got to answer to no one but you. And it's, Brad is like, I feel like I've been called to make the world a better place, and I've been doing that. But there also has been, intoxication and stimulants have been a part of how I have found inspiration or energy or, action, done things. Sometimes I've used tools sometimes to help or to get over insecurities. And so it's a scary thing for me to think about, well, who will I be? And I think that the thing that I keep coming back to is, well, there's a few things, but one is I already know I know who I am when I have intoxication as part of my life. I do pretty good. But for the most part, I'm still a pretty productive and loving person in the world. But I don't really know who I am without it. And so, since I will probably be alive for another few decades, it would be a worthy undertaking to figure out and explore another chapter. I mean, I certainly have times when I go, I don't know why I'm still alive. I don't know what else I still need to do. So from that perspective, well, let's try another significantly different chapter. Let's play another character. You've played the Halcyon character. Maybe played it as far as it can go. You leveled up. You became Burning Man awesome. And maybe it's time to try something else, which is super scary for me. I'm the same person, just a little more bored, it says Brandon. That's probably true. Yeah. And I think I'm more needy. I think that's one of the things that I've been exploring, and what the process of being broken up with, and looking at my inner trauma and trying to figure out, like, well, what about being intoxicated do I find so soothing and so comfortable and so enjoyable? What general discomfort about being a human am I trying to soothe? And so trying to dig into some of that stuff about unworthiness or deep feelings of needing approval, lack of self-love on some level. I don't know. Some things I know, but some things I don't. Al says, the occasional cider did help him feel less awkward at the burn. You can see it as training wheels. I like that. Although my training wheels have been a truck, like a Mack truck or a tank. So I'm not one to have the occasional cider. I'm one to have a 6-pack. Brad says, the constant is change and growth. The balance changes too. If you use mindfulness as a guide, I trust you will follow the balance that fits your needs. And that's where I'm trying to have faith. I've never really found success in meditation, but I recognize that for me to get to the next level, meditation has got to be a part of it. Um, Gearbot says, I subscribe to Better Living Through Chemistry, but I've had years of total sobriety because that's what I needed at the time. Bravo. Discomfort is a signal that points you in the direction that you need to grow if you listen to it. See, this is that's almost triggering to me because I don't hear it, you know. I mean, I have faith. I'm going on faith in what people say. Okay, you're going to start to tune into your feelings more. It doesn't feel that way now. It's like telling someone who's colorblind, isn't that a beautiful sunset? You just got to like look at how beautiful the colors are. And like, I don't see them. Artist Way suggestion, says Janet. That's a good, that's come up a couple times from people. So I did start taking myself on artist dates, and I have been writing every morning, but maybe I should try to do the course. I mean, the thing is, God, there's so fucking many courses I should take. I was just looking at this Maston Kipp program for looking at somatic trauma-induced therapy. I'm like, should I do this? I mean, like, I can't just pay for something and assume that's going to help me. I got to do it. And I feel like I'm doing too much, or I'm already starting to slip on some of the things. All right, here's what the Daily Stoic says, and then I'm going to hug. The March 20th says, which today is a palindrome, by the way. 320. Oh, I don't know, something like that. This is from Seneca. I may wish to be free from torture, but if the time comes for me to endure it, I wish to bear it courageously with bravery and honor. Wouldn't I prefer not to fall into war? But if war does befall me, I wish to carry nobly the wounds, starvation, and other necessities of war. Neither am I so crazy as to desire illness, but if I must suffer illness, I wish to do nothing rash or dishonorable. The point is not to wish for these adversities, but for the virtue that makes adversities bearable. So, stop whining, John. Take it like a human and embrace the discomfort. That just is not, who wrote that brochure? That does just not sound enticing. Hedonism has always worked for me in the past. Where does this masochism become the path forward? Who wrote this coursework? This is a terrible idea. All right, beautiful people. Wherever you are, let's give ourselves a big squeeze and embrace this moment. Embrace this perfect now. Know that nothing is undone. Nothing needs to be done in this moment. And that we are connected, and we have the ability to be connecting people in the world, to be courageous, to face our fears and act, and be vessels of love in the world, and to love ourselves and forgive others as we forgive ourselves. Let's take a deep breath in and squeeze one another. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of you, thanks for being here for this love morning. Have a beautiful day.